election night in California.
And we are monitoring and updating the key national races, including the presidential race and the battle for Congress. I want to thank you for joining us tonight on this special night. I'm Gulston Dark.
And I'm Edie Lambert. We also know you're watching a lot of races here in California, from those statewide to your local elections, city and county. KCRA 3's Lisa Gonzalez and our Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala are both here helping us provide context and results as these numbers are coming in.
Yeah, so a lot to get through tonight. We are covering your local and state races all across California, focusing on our area here. We have live reports. We're also breaking down what it all means with our expert analysts who are here in our studio tonight. We're also starting to get some more results as the election picture becomes clearer and clearer with many races.
Okay, so for the big picture on that, Gulston, Republicans seizing control of the U.S. Senate after flipping some Democratic-held seats and holding on to their GOP incumbents. This is the first time they'll have the majority in 4 years. Also, the Associated Press now calling two of the battleground states for former President Donald Trump. Georgia is one of those, and North Carolina is the other. And so we can show you where the Electoral College votes stand right now, and we blew through that, but you can see right now with Donald Trump in the lead with those numbers.
Yeah, also California Senate seat called for Representative Adam Schiff. That was early tonight, really right after the polls closed. It was not even a close race, really, when you look at it. We had a chance to hear what Adam Schiff had to say, and it sounds like he's ready to get to work as our new U.S. Senator here in California.
And he'll have even more work than he was expecting now that the Republicans have taken the majority there. So let's check in with KCRA 3's Lisa Gonzalez and what we're watching now on this national level.
Yeah, absolutely, Edie. And I was just doing some tabulating of my own. And as you just mentioned, Edie, of course, NBC News, and of course, they're calling two states for former President Trump right now, that being Georgia. That's 16 electoral votes right there. And then North Carolina, also 16 electoral votes. But we're keeping a really close eye on all of these battleground states. Of course, the goal is to get to 270 electoral votes. Right now, former President Donald Trump has 247. Vice President Kamala Harris has 210. And as you look at the national picture here, as you look at the map of the United States, you can see with the red and the blue, it's really easy to see, you know, who's voting for who and where, and it really gives you a clearer idea. But again, two of those important swing states, we do have projected winners, and that would be President Trump for Georgia and North Carolina. Pennsylvania, a really important state, only because there are 19 electoral votes in that one. So here we are, projected winner for Georgia with 51% of the votes. This for former President Trump. Also, let's go ahead and look at the next state and projected winner for North Carolina, as I mentioned, and here it is, 51% of the votes for the state of North Carolina. And the state of North Carolina, a state where both candidates spent a lot of time in the last several days leading up to Election Day, and sometimes even holding a couple different events in the same day. Both of them really focused on North Carolina and Pennsylvania. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next state that we have here to show you, and that is Pennsylvania, where, as I mentioned, this one's so important because there are 19 electoral votes up for grabs. Right now, former President Trump with 51% of the votes, 48% of the votes for Kamala Harris. This is a state she in particularly spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania. Now let's move on to Arizona, where there are 11 electoral votes up for grabs. This is with 50% of the precincts reporting right now. And look at how close it is here. I mean, this is just by thousands of votes. That's it at this point. A little over 928,000 votes for former President Trump. That's 49.9%, and then 49.2% for Vice President Kamala Harris. But you can see just how close it is there. When we say your vote matters, it really matters. Let's move on to the state of Michigan right now. And I just want to point out this is with 59% of the precincts reporting, and there are 15 electoral votes up for grabs in this critical swing state of Michigan. Right now, 52% of the votes going to Trump, 46% going to Kamala Harris. And then let's move on to Nevada. Again, Harris was in Nevada just over the weekend. Our own Ashley Zavala was there just the last several days. And Harris has 48% of the votes right now in Nevada. That's with 75% of the precincts reporting 51% of the votes for former President Trump. Let's move on to Wisconsin, another critical swing state. There are 10 electoral votes up for grabs in Wisconsin. This is with 85% of the votes precincts reporting 51% Trump, 47% for Harris. So we'll continue to follow this for you. We are learning that an advisor for Vice President Harris says that she will not be speaking with supporters until tomorrow, and saying that the campaign believes that there are, quote, still votes to count. We have not heard anything at this point, Edie and Golston, from the Trump campaign. Back to you.
Lisa, thank you. All right, we want to check in now on Proposition 35. The Associated Press is now calling this as being approved by voters by quite a wide margin. This is a tax on managed care organizations, creating a permanent tax. Providers would then be paid more to treat Medi-Cal patients. And Ashley, I know you've been talking to state leaders who are concerned about the impact on the budget.
Yeah, well, this issue sort of came up this year when California was faced with a budget deficit. And one of the ways that the governor and legislature tried to close that shortfall was by tapping into what's called the MCO tax. It's really a tax on health insurance providers. And they're able to draw down federal dollars because it involves Medicaid. And so there's a couple things at work here. Governor Gavin Newsom and the legislature have also expanded the pool for these patients, allowing lower income Californians, regardless of immigration status, documentation status, to be provided with Medi-Cal care. But the issue for those providers, those doctors, those nurse practitioners, et cetera, is that the reimbursement rates have not kept up. So while there was discussions about raising those reimbursement rates with the MCO tax, what the governor and legislature ended up doing was using the MCO tax money to help fill the budget deficit and healthcare spending overall in California. So the Department of Finance actually told me last week that this would amount to basically a $7.5 billion immediate chunk out of the state budget as a result of voters passing this, which causes now some potential. I mean, Governor Gavin Newsom did not formally oppose this, but he did strongly warn against it, saying that this will create.
So bottom line, where do we go from there? I mean, what happens next?
I mean, this is going to create a big problem for the state to have to figure out in the budget. We are already entering an era of deficit and structural deficit, meaning for years to come, and this blows that hole even bigger. So expect to see in January, when the governor brings his budget proposal forward, he's going to kind of have to scramble to figure out a new plan forward.
One question I have is, oftentimes when you have a complex ballot initiative, and as you explained it, I mean, a lot of layers to this one.
Yeah.
A lot of times voters will just say no thank you because they don't really understand it, and if they don't get it, the answer is no. So why do you think this passed by such a wide margin?
This had really sympathetic proponents. I mean, you had doctors, nurses, these people were on TV in campaign ads saying, please pass this is going to help us, this is going to raise our reimbursement rates. And you didn't really have a good organized opposition to that with a strong messenger. Perhaps if Governor Gavin Newsom had come out more strongly and voiced his concerns in an organized campaign, maybe that would have made a difference. But it's hard to say, doctors, nurses, you're wrong.
And to be fair on the budget situation, Governor Newsom's office will say right now that the budget outlook in the first 3 months of the year looks okay, and that return is coming back a bit better than expected. But again, this creates a brand new challenge that they were not necessarily bracing for. So.
All right, thank you both. We want to go now to California's 9th Congressional District. We've been talking about this one. Republican Kevin Lincoln, the current mayor of Stockton, challenging Democratic incumbent Josh Harder. Yeah,
let's go to Peyton Headley right now, who is at Josh Harder's watch party in Stockton with the latest on how he's feeling. Peyton?
Right, well, Josh Harder last took the stage around 9:30. He told voters he is encouraged and he is excited by the early results tonight. He's making his rounds, going through, talking to some of the people in the crowd who are supporting him tonight, and of course supporting his race, and hoping to hold his seat in the 9th Congressional District, which would be his 4th term in Congress. Now, this race is one that's being closely watched nationally, and that's because this is a fairly purple district centered around San Joaquin County. So this race could determine which party has has control of the House. And for that reason, each candidate has poured a lot of money into this race. Harder spending $5 million on his campaign. He says if reelected, he'll continue to focus on inflation, bringing lower prices for families in the Central Valley, making sure families feel safe, and protecting women's reproductive rights. I asked him a little bit earlier tonight what has made this campaign different than years past. Here's what he had to say.
You know, I think the enthusiasm has just been real. I think we're going to see a very high voter turnout across our community, especially compared to 2022, our last election. People know there's an election coming up. They have some strong views. There is this polarization, but we've been able to see a lot of folks coming together and coming towards the middle, which is what our campaign has been about from day one.
And Harder's still here talking to some of his supporters. So early results have him leading over his Republican challenger, current Stockton Mayor Kevin Lincoln. New numbers within the last few minutes from the San Joaquin County voter registrar have him leading with about 54% of the vote. That's a 10,000 vote lead in San Joaquin County. And of course, he says that's reflective of the work that he has already done and the work that he hopes to do if reelected to office. Live in Stockton, Peyton Headley, KCRA 3 News.
Peyton, thank you.
Well, let's check in on the other side of this race. KCRA 3's Andres Valle is at the Republican challenger Kevin Lincoln's watch party in Stockton. How goes it there?
Well, you know, it's a little bit different than his opponents. This is more kind of an intimate watch party filled with close friends and loved ones. Just take a look right behind me. Everybody just watching the election polls on the TVs here. These supporters have been here all night, and Kevin Lincoln hasn't really addressed them in a speech-like way, but he's been walking around talking to everybody, basically thanking them for their support. Now, the 9th District is centered around Stockton, which holds most of San Joaquin County's population. Lincoln, a Republican, is the current mayor of Stockton, and he served as Stockton mayor since 2020, which, of course, he unseated Democrat Michael Tubbs at the time. But while he's not leading in the polls currently against Harder at this moment, he's still feeling very hopeful in this race. Now, if Lincoln wins that, he could help tip control the U.S. House of Representatives, and if elected, he wants to focus on reducing inflation, and he's what some would call more of a moderate Republican on issues like abortion. He's told KCRA that his statement has been very clear and consistent from the beginning that he's not going to Washington to support a federal abortion ban, which he says is true to what his campaign has been all about. So I asked him earlier tonight how being the mayor of Stockton has helped him to kind of run for Congress.
People are looking for leadership. Our country has been so divided and so polarized on issues, and we haven't been able to sit down and have a conversation at the table. And that's something that we've been able to do in Stockton.
And as Lincoln just said, he feels that his work as Stockton mayor makes him the right fit to represent this district right here. And of course, we'll be here all night talking to Lincoln as these election results come in. Live here in Stockton, I'm Andres Valle with KCRA 3 News.
All right, Andres, thank you. We want to check in now on the Sacramento mayor's race, and we've got Kevin McCarty, a current state assembly member, running against Dr. Flojan Kofer, a first-time candidate here in Sacramento. You can see he's holding a lead of 56 to 44%. And right now we have Leanne Denier with Assemblymember McCarty. So how is that going? Are they feeling pretty confident at this point?
Well, we are expecting him to speak shortly in the next little bit, but right now the supporters of Kevin McCarty are gathering. The spirits are high. People seem optimistic, but like we've seen since the primary, this is looking like it's going to be a close race. And McCarty and Kofer really differ on a lot of different topics that we've heard from them over the last few months as they've worked their way through these campaigns. Things like homelessness and police staffing, even something as specific as what they plan to do with the city manager's contract here in the city of Sacramento. So a lot of different things that they have spoken to really have quite the contrast between them. And less than a mile away from where we are right now in downtown is where Dr. Kofer is rallying with her supporters. We were just there a few minutes ago, was able to talk to her briefly while she was working with her team and speaking to her supporters, thanking them for everything. She says that really what makes her different from McCarty is that she's not a career politician. That's how she's described him. She said that she thinks her background in healthcare is actually going to help her succeed. Take a listen.
I come from a public health background, so I'm focused a lot on the management side of the job because it's one of the things that has been missing. We haven't set priorities, and we haven't had clear performance goals for our staff. And so that's something that I'm looking forward to coming in and helping to add.
And like I mentioned, we are expecting McCarty to speak shortly. You can see he is over my shoulder now, talking with some of his supporters here at this event at Cafeteria 15L downtown. Like we've seen throughout this campaign, two very different approaches as to how they would take over as the mayor of Sacramento, but both say that they are ready and they are eager, and we are just going to have to wait to see which one it is going to be. In Sacramento, Leon Denyer, KCRA 3 News.
Yeah, only about a third of the votes counted right now in Sacramento County, and some of those, of course, counting for the mayor's race. Thank you so much. And speaking of Sacramento City races, we want to catch you up on District 2. That is Roger Dickinson versus Stephen Walton. Roger Dickinson, the former county supervisor, former state assembly member. This is a nonpartisan race, so you don't see this categorized as Democratic versus Republican, but you do see Roger Dickinson with a lead. If you're wondering about Districts 4, 6, and 8, all of those were decided during the primary.
All right, well, the polls closed at 8. Election staff now counting all of the ballots, and Jason Marks is joining us live right now. He's at the Sacramento County Registrar's office with a look at the count that still goes on there. Jason.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night. You mentioned that money lines still at the polls as those polls close at 8 o'clock, and now those ballot boxes from the 88 different polling spots around the city are slowly starting to trickle in. Only 12 of the 88 are here at this point. So, you know, with another, I'm not a math major, another like 72 to come in, that's going to be a while. That's not right. It's probably, no, I'm not a math guy. I'm a TV guy. You know, tonight is all about really the workers. Once they get here, it's about the paid workers and also the volunteers. This room here is made up of both. And let me ask you, what is your name, first of all?
Ruby.
Ruby, how long have you been here today? You're a paid staff, right?
Yes.
What time did you get here this morning?
6:40, 6:45.
6:45 a.m., right?
A.m.
And what time do you get to leave?
So the ballots are all.
When all the ballots are counted.
Tell me what happens. They bring the ballots back, and then what is your job here?
To prepare, gather all the ballots, put them in the right order where they need to be. Yeah, and
go through all of the people that need just registered. We go through, we make sure that everything is all there, and then we write down what precinct it was for, so when they go through, we know exactly where they came from.
You guys have been working around the clock, almost literally, right? I mean, every day is like to 8 o'clock leading up, and then of course this might be to like 3 a.m. or something like that.
Yes.
Are you exhausted?
Oh yes, very exhausted.
Tell me what that feeling's like on election day, and knowing that you've got this massive amount of work hours. That you're thinking about the overtime. Christmas is coming up, right? That check's going to be nice.
Doing it for the American people and working for the community around here. That's the best.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's
making
exciting.
Sure that,
it's
all the
exciting. It
ballots are
gives you.
counted.
It's a thrill. You get tired, but then you get excited when you start seeing all the ballots come in and all the people that turned out. It's been a great turnout today.
What happens tomorrow? Back at it, or do we get to rest tomorrow?
No, we're
So
back
tomorrow's not the day of rest?
No.
When is the day of rest?
Not until Sunday.
Well, thank you guys for what you do. I mean, you guys are the backbone, obviously, of this process. The process that will continue for many, many hours to come, guys. Now back to you.
A day of rest. We're right in the middle right now. Thank you, Jace.
Yeah, no rest for anyone right now. Okay, let's check on the Stockton mayor's race right now. This position made vacant by Kevin Lincoln, who's running for Congress, and we can show you the race right now as it stands. Christina Fugazi in the lead right now, 52%. The challenger, Tom Patty, at 48%.
And right now, the Stockton mayoral candidates, no, it is still too close to call in this one. Anahita Jafari joins us live at Christina Fugazi's watch party.
Yeah, Fugazi's watch party is underway right now. We're here in Stockton at Binge Vietnamese Fusion. As you can see behind me, dozens of her supporters are here right now, and earlier even more. But take a live look at some that stuck around now that it's starting to wrap up. Fugazi says she has other people she is supporting in different elections to go and see, and she has work for Stockton Unified tomorrow morning. You can see signs that say, "For a safe and clean Stockton, Christina Fugazi for mayor." Fugazi is talking to people right now, as she has been doing since we arrived earlier. A lot of excitement because the newest numbers are in. They were just updated for mayor of Stockton. 75 votes. Later tonight, we will be back over at Squeezeburger to see more of Patty's Watch Party. Live in Stockton, I'm Anahita Jafari, KCRA 3 News.
Right, Anahita, thank you.
We're going to drill down to some of the local measures that are going on, and voters are having to consider some of these. One of them is the South Lake Tahoe Measure N. That's the one that would authorize a property tax for owners who keep a residential unit there, a house basically, vacant for half the year. And right now we can see that that is failing right now, and that's by a pretty sizable margin.
Interesting on that one, because a lot of the people who it would affect don't get to vote on it because they're registered to vote at their primary residence. All right, let's check in now. I believe we're looking at Sacramento's Measure E. So this combines and extends existing taxes to pay for library services in the city of Sacramento, and it looks like people love their libraries. It's right now winning by a pretty large margin.
All right, we have, I think, another measure to show you right now. Yeah, this is the Folsom Measure G, that 1% sales tax there. And this one is being voted down right now at this point, 60-40.
Similar measure in West Sacramento, but in this case, it has a lead at this point. This is a 1-cent sales tax to pay for road repairs, public safety, park maintenance, homeless services, and local government operations. So at this point, West Sacramento residents passing that measure.